This is a question on behalf of Mona Packaging, the one we tweeted about.
Great.
Actually,
yes.
because 200 people together came up with one.
I know
question.
that's a hard co-creation challenge.
It was hard, yeah.
You get one word, you get an eighth of an award.
Yeah, almost like
right,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, a lot of questions they had for you, but we picked one.
Okay.
What can the Western world learn from China in the field of sustainability?
Well, I think it's really on a city level. So really, China is the only country in the world that's building new cities at a time. And so I think that if China can, one of the things that we're experimenting with is what does the China Dream community look like? So I talked about what the China Dream is. Now we have to visualize it on a city level. Right. So, for example, we're thinking about social spaces that integrate tri-generational activities that also pump the water for recycling, or create the electricity to generate the village, etc. Right. So, really, really new models. These very dense, in the center, vertical 1 square kilometer living type of ideas. These are all being can be experimented with in China. They can't be experimented outside of China, and so I think that. For me, that's probably the most exciting thing that other people will look to and say, maybe we don't have the land to, or we can't just, demolish a old village and create this new city, but there'll be some exciting models. I can't necessarily say what they are quite yet. Yeah. I think that we're still backwards in a lot of ways on things like food, water, air. So by 2025, we won't have those solved, I don't think. I think that on new materials, China is really still at a stage where it doesn't have the capability to do radical innovation in new materials, but they can certainly manufacture them here, and they can bring economies of scale to those things. So, Jim Rogers of Duke Energy, he's the head of the largest utility in the US. He likes to say that China is developing the IP of scale. And I sort of tweaked that and I said, China is developing the IP of gigascale. So I think that that's sort of something that people can learn from. Because scale itself is a whole new IP. It really is.
It's what we need. We need to scale up.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think on the governance, people look at China and they have a very Western view of looking at China, and they're afraid of communism because they might be thinking of other types of countries' communism models. But like I said, China's communism is much more entrepreneurial, much more capitalistic. Shanghai's the most capitalistic city I've ever seen. It's much more of a multinational corporation in the way that it runs itself. So I think that there might be some interesting things to learn about how do you create a hybrid governance model that looks at China? So there's a lot of African countries that are sending their government leaders to Diaoyutai in Beijing and really learning from the Chinese government academies about how China is run.